Hello, my love. I'm so excited to share the dream business plan with you. My intention for creating this is to give you a blueprint of your dream business, of course. And that is because I've taken so many business courses online, and I actually have never seen, even once, any teachers going over an actual business plan, which I find very interesting. So I also went to college for business, and that's where I learned about business plans, but I never implemented it into my own life and my career until probably 5 years later. And up until that point, I was just floating around free spirit, putting out offerings, really having zero business structure and not having the confidence to really see my business and my offerings as an actual business and seeing myself as the CEO of that business. It took me quite a while to really own that title and to really treat my business like a business. This often happens in the healing community, in the spiritual community, in the community of wanting to heal others, that there's judgment around making it an actual business that's abundant, that's lucrative for you. But as we know, the more lucrative it is, the more we can get our message out, the more people we can help. So it's really important to treat your business like a business, to have this structure and vision for where you want to go and not just float around like I did. So you should have the PDF of the dream business plan that I created. And this is just one example of a pretty basic business plan. You can go online and find much more detailed business plans if you desire. For example, there's some plans that really go in depth of the financials, your team and each individual's workflow, and just so much more. You can find templates for things like this on creativemarket.com. That's what I use. So that's just a little side note if you are really enjoying this practice and you want to go even deeper. So in this video, I wanted to explain what the different terms are in this booklet rather than just giving you the PDF. So let's have a look. Okay, baddies. So here we are creating your dream business plan. This is a really exciting time in your business, in your life for you. I know that it can be overwhelming if this information is totally new for you, but for this challenge, I'm only asking for some parts of this business plan. So you don't have to get this all figured out in one day. You can spend a month on it. My very first business plan, I spent a full month, and I also hired someone to actually help me just so I knew that I was doing everything correctly. So first and foremost, and this is before we get into the actual plan, I love to create clarity and vision. It's like taking a road trip. You know where you're going. You're not just jumping in the car and you're like, okay, let's go for a ride. Let's get this done. When you go on a vacation, you're planning everything out so that you know you're going to have an incredible time and it's going to be a successful trip. So we are getting very clear on where we desire our business to go. So first and foremost, what is your intention for your business? What is your highest intention? This is your why. And the thing with your why, it's like your Northern Star. But over time in your entrepreneurial journey, your how of how you align to that Northern Star may change. So for example, my why has always remained the same. And this doesn't mean that your why can't change later, but have a very, very big, clear why. My why for the last 14 years of being self-employed has been to spread the greatest wave of love and empowerment in the collective feminine as I possibly can during my time on this planet. So mine is pretty broad, and the hows of how I've done that have changed over the past decade. Time and time again. I was a yoga teacher. I had a nonprofit helping to empower women who are survivors of domestic abuse. I was a speaker at festivals. I was only writing books for a couple years. I'm now teaching around business and feminine leadership. I was a tantra teacher, and of course I still am. But as my life has evolved, as I've evolved as a person and I learned new skills and I travel the world, then my how of how I deliver and offer my why has shifted. So get very clear on your highest intention and write it everywhere. Stay really committed to that why and make it bigger than your ego. I just want to note that because when I started teaching, so many of us have imposter syndrome. I've had panic attacks on a stage before. My first time on stage, I ran off and had a panic attack because I was so scared, but I knew this was something that I just had to do in my life. And the main way that I got through that and pushed through my fears and my limiting beliefs was making my message bigger than the messenger. So making my why bigger than my ego. I was backstage, terrified. I would remind myself, this is about the people here. This is about empowering women. This is about the shit that I went through and them going through similar and helping them through it because I didn't have someone who helped me through it at the time. And I know how that feels. That inside of me, even when I share it with you now, I have goosebumps right now. That's how big my why is to me. So my little limiting beliefs become even smaller when I compare it to my why. Next, going over your goals for the first year, first 3 years, 5 years, 10, 20, as if this is something you are going to invest your time, energy, money, your life into. It's got to be something that you're passionate about and that you want to sustain in the long term. Again, the way that you deliver it may change, but this is something that you are ready to commit to. And when we have a 20-year vision, if we're not making the money we expect to in the first year or even the first 2 years, we see that big vision and we say, okay, this is just part of it. This is what I know I'm meant to be doing, so I'm sticking with it. And then what are at least 20 reasons why you're the best person ever to launch this business, the best person in the world? So in your journal, put, I'm the best person in the world to launch this business, to be a teacher, to put out a clothing line, whatever your business is. Why are you the best person in this world to do this? And you need to be cocky. Like, you need to be confident. It's not like you have to run around and tell everyone why you're the best, but it's just you here and your journal. Over exaggerate a bit. Get comfortable bragging. Get comfortable being confident in your business, because that will shine through the way that you deliver your message. And you must believe in what you're sharing, because no one else will if you don't. What are your personal strengths and weaknesses? Be very honest with yourself. It takes a powerful person in business is honest and knows their strengths and their weaknesses. And also what turns you on, what makes you feel alive, and what drains you in life and in business. Really spend time reflecting on these questions. And if you haven't started your business yet, you might not know what drains you. For me, things like editing my videos. I love creating videos and content, but editing them drains me. So as soon as I had the funds to hire someone to do that, I did. Getting back to emails drains me. I don't mind DMs on Instagram for some reason, but the layout of an email, I don't know, it drains my energy. So I hired an assistant and she responds to most of my emails and I look over them. I still respond to some of them myself, but I really pay attention to what leaves me feeling drained. And of course, at the very start of your business, you might not have the funds to outsource certain activities and workflows in your business, but it's something to work towards and to be aware of, because ultimately you want to be doing what makes you feel alive, because that will also shine through and make your business and brand more magnetic. How familiar are you with your industry? This is so important. Do you know the predicted long-term growth? Do you know the most successful people in your industry? Have you studied them? And we'll get more into this in this video as well. Do you know potential problems? You must have clarity of where you're going in order to get there. And before we jump into the business plan, also, I just want to go over the businessy stuff and some of the legalities. So is your business name available, first and foremost? And have you already registered it? How will your business be funded? Will you be funding it yourself? Will you continue having a job and keep it on the side? Will you get investors? So knowing the startup costs and exactly how that's going to be funded. Who will be viewing your business plan? What's your intention for creating this plan? Maybe it's for Krystal. I'll be viewing it, or maybe it's for your own benefit. So you have this blueprint and foundation, or maybe it's to show investors. Most commonly, business plans are created to show potential investors. But I really believe it's important for everyone who wants to create a business to make a business plan, even if it's just for themselves. Have you looked into legalities? Are you creating a business bank account? I recommend having a separate business account, definitely, for tax purposes and organization, and look into the legalities. This is the non-sexy part of your business. It's very, very, very important. In the Baddie Business School, I really share with absolute transparency what has happened to me in the last 14 years. I went from having the most money in my bank account ever in 2020 to almost having to claim bankruptcy because I didn't have the proper legalities behind my business. And things happen and I didn't even know were a possibility because I didn't sit down with a legal expert and go over these things. Even if it's $1,000 at the start, it shouldn't cost any more than that. It is absolutely worth it because I lost over 6 figures. And I really wish that I knew about that. But I also didn't have anyone telling me these things. I just jumped into having my own businesses. And I thought because I was traveling around the world, I didn't have to have this legal support back in Canada. But yes, I did. So get your legalities figured out, please, so you don't end up in the same position I did. Do you know your ideal customer? Have you performed market research? We'll get more into that also in a moment. I'm reminding you to get excited. I know it can be overwhelming sometimes. And honestly, if you have no idea about any of these things and you're like, holy fuck, and you've already started your business, don't feel bad. A lot of people have no idea about these things. Like, this took me a decade to really learn the meaning of having a foundation behind my business. So don't be hard on yourself and just really get excited. So the business plan structure, here is everything usually included in a business plan. So first and foremost, we go over the executive summary. So this is my new membership program, Empowered. And I just give an example here of my mission statement as well as my example summary. So business summary, mission statement, and financial plan summary. This is the first thing that's included in a business plan. So my example summary is Empowered is an affordable membership program where women from around the world can join to access a growing library of content, live workshops, and a private community of like-minded sisters. They receive support and guidance to live their most powerful, pleasurable, and prosperous lives in all areas. My mission statement is to empower women in all areas of their lives while having the support of sacred sisterhood. And I just gave an example of Google. So the mission statement should be sweet and simple, and you should know it like the back of your hand. And I share Google's because Google is such a huge tool used around the world, and they can put their mission statement into one simple sentence to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Bam. So get very, very clear on your summary and your mission statement. In the future, if you're ever being interviewed, if you're ever sharing about your business, even when you create your sales pages, whenever you're talking about it to people, you should know the summary and this mission so clearly, as well as your elevator pitch, which is similar to the summary, maybe a little bit longer. It should be under 1 minute. But trust me, it really helps because then you're infusing your mission statement and your summary and your why into everything that you say. Next is problem and solution. Pretty straightforward. Survey your community to discover common problems they're struggling with. Conduct market research. Study what problems and solutions your competitors are offering. Research, research, research. This is the time that you're really putting on your detective caps, okay, or your detective trench coat, and you're going on researching, and spend a few days, spend weeks if you want to, really researching, go on to forums, go on to Facebook groups in your industry, look at the comments that people are saying, go on to YouTube videos of people in your industry and look at the comments of people sharing what they're struggling with. When you clearly know what problems and solutions you're offering, your sales pitch and sales pages are much more powerful. So the same thing, everything that you're sharing about your business should be aligned to the problem that you're solving, to your mission statement, to your elevator pitch, to your why, to your mission. So get so clear on these things. And again, if you have no idea what problems there are, that's okay. You can discover them through this research, or you may already know because it's a problem that you had in your life that you want to solve for others. That's where my first business came from. I was in a violent relationship that almost took my life. And my whole why was to help women survive and thrive through what I did, because I felt so isolated and alone going through that. So for me, I didn't have to really, I should have researched more if I wanted to approach it professionally. But at the time, I just knew this was a problem that I had and I need to help people. I need to get online and share my story. So you can find your problems in two ways, either from your personal experience and you know there's a demand, you know there's other people who are going through similar problems as you, or and researching it. So company description, your objective, your vision, structure and ownership, location and team. Are you going to be hiring people? Are you going to have a physical office, a physical location? What's the structure? Are you the only owner? So this is the basics of how your company and your business will be structured. Market analysis. So the market size, total number of potential buyers and potential revenue. So we are aiming for a fantastic revenue, but also being realistic. So look into how much other people are making. What is the demand? What is your current community? How many people are in your community? So we are being realistic, but we're also stretching what we believe to be possible and giving ourselves something to work towards as well. Demographics, characteristics of potential groups of buyers. So your ideal clients, and we'll also talk about that in a moment. Barriers to entry, factors that could make it difficult to enter the industry. So this could be startup costs. It could be high level of competitors. It could be your education. Maybe you need to invest in an education first. These are potential barriers that may hold you back from entering the industry and succeeding off the bat. And I'll just remind you, anything is possible. Anything's possible if you want it badly enough. Okay. So just be clear of these things, because it's better to know the potential factors that could happen rather than just jumping in and being like, everything's amazing, I'm doing my manifestation work and millions are going to come to me. Like, we have to have a little bit of realistic energy behind it too. And this is something I've learned in online courses that I've taken. There's a lot of them just saying, yeah, do all this manifestation and energetic work and it's all going to come to you. And it does work for some people, and that becomes the testimonials. But for the majority of people, this is how I like to approach my life and my business, is having the logic behind it, having the structures as well as the feminine energetics and the playful and the magnetic energy. So this is the grounded Shiva energy, that being aware of things that could possibly go wrong. Target client, your ideal client avatar. So in all the courses that I've taken, I've noticed that every single teacher has a different perspective of client avatars. My perspective is that I think it's great. I call them, in our Baddie Business School, I call them our Sallys. So I create my target client, who is Sally, and I describe her and explain who she is. And then usually I'll also do a second one. If you know your human design, this is actually really interesting, that some people manifest better by creating very specific details in their manifestation. So for example, I know many women who have manifested their dream partners by giving every single exact detail. Like, he has sandy blonde hair, green eyes, he's 6'2", he works for this in this industry. And for me, I've written out those lists. I'm like, he's not coming. Something's going on. And when I really dived into human design, I recommend it to everyone in business. It's helped me so much with the energetics of my business. It's crazy. But also with manifesting, I found out through human design that I'm someone who manifests better by having a more broad, more like focusing on how I'll feel with that individual, how he'll make me feel, for example, rather than exactly all the details about him. And that never felt good for me. I don't like going into details. I like to really leave my options open. I don't even like to say the sex. It could be a man, woman, any kind of career. Who knows? I've dated like every single type of person you could imagine. And that's just how I am. So when I got more clear on how I want them to make me feel and really our values, if those align, now I've been calling in the partners that I desire. So it's important to know that and to play with different ways of manifesting rather than just taking a course and feeling like, because one thing worked for someone else, that's meant to work for you as well. We are all unique individuals. And that's why I love human design and also astrology, to really understand that. And we also share more about that in our Baddie Business School. So with all that being said, your ideal client avatar, I like to approach it in giving details of the potential ideal client so you know who to talk to when you're creating your sales pages, but also getting very clear on the energetics. So what are Sally's? I've always called it Sally. I don't know, in my life, that's my ideal client, Sally. So what are Sally's desires? What is she struggling with? What motivates her? What does she get up in the day for? What gives her pleasure? What makes her feel alive? What turns her on? What is she magnetized to? And what does she not want more of in her life? So I like to dive pretty deeply into the emotional aspect of the client avatar. Next, we have SWOT. It's pretty straightforward: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Again, being honest with yourself of your strengths and weaknesses. And you will learn more of these as you go. And you'll learn your zone of genius and what should be outsourced. So opportunities in your business and possible threats. Competitor analysis. And honestly, I don't really like using the word competitor because I don't like to see, especially women in my industry doing similar work. I don't see them as my competitor. For me, I'd see it more like sister analysis. What are the other sisters doing out there? But you can change it if you'd like. So what's the big promise that they're giving? Look over their sales pages. Really do your research. For me, I'm very passionate at this point in my career of expanding my membership program, which I am currently rebranding as Empowerheard. And because of this, I have purchased literally every membership program that I have found on the internet. Any woman who has a membership program, I've purchased off the bat, no questions asked, even if it's a little bit different of an industry, because I'm curious of what kind of layout does she have? How does she structure her membership? How many people are on there? What's the price? How can I make mine even better than hers? So I guess it is competitive. I want to give the best membership program I've ever seen. And I actually feel pretty confident that mine is at the moment because I'm offering so much more than I've seen anyone offer so far. And I wouldn't know that if I didn't invest in their membership program. So invest in the products and the services that people in your industry are offering, if you're, of course, able to at this time. Otherwise, really research their websites, their products and service sales pages, their content, and really understand what's working for them. What do you have in common with them? What platforms are they on? Are you following them? What was their journey and what's their customer's journey? As in, do they offer freebies or free content that you can get to know them a little bit, and then they bring you on a journey into, okay, this is a lower offer product, and now you've gotten a good taste of their work, or maybe a membership? Is there one-on-one coaching? Whatever your industry is, what is the journey from the first point of contact with them until you dive deeper and deeper into their world? And I just put this here. I think you can have moderate success by copying something else, but if you really want to knock it out of the park, you have to do something different and take chances. Yes, I deeply believe this. And the thing is, when we're starting off in a business, it can, I don't want to say naturally, but we can feel like we have to do things the way that everyone else is doing. And we may even feel like we're copying. So be very mindful. We're not copying anyone's work. We are getting inspired by others and we're seeing what's possible. And then we're asking ourselves, how can I add my unique magic to this? And how can I make it even better in a way that feels more alive and aligned for me and my community? Not copying, but getting inspired. And it's a very beautiful journey, the business journey of slowly unraveling and releasing what you feel you need to do in business to allowing your unique self to shine through. I know it was for me because at the start I did feel, and I was dating someone who's quite professional in the way he teaches. And I didn't really want to be like that, but I felt like that's how we were supposed to teach together. I saw other teachers as well. And I felt that like silly things like I can't swear on my workshops and I have to be super professional in certain ways. And even my branding, the colors and things weren't fully Krystal. I was just getting inspired with what other people were doing. So I'm really inviting you to allow yourself to shine through. That's what will make you magnetic. And of course, getting clear on your strengths and your unique gifts. How are you different from others in your industry? Products and services, pretty straightforward here, going into the details of how you're offering your products and services, products and or services. So for products, how much inventory do you need? How will you keep up if you get a high volume of orders all at once? How do you ensure that products are of high quality? What's the unboxing experience if you're mailing products, shipping rates, packaging, warranty, manufacturing costs, and potential issues? If you're offering products, these are things you should definitely know. For services, how will you provide high quality service? What's the customer journey? As I just explained, first point of contact, and then what is the journey they go to go deeper into your world? Premium pricing options. Are you offering premium prices? Are you offering packages? What's your refund policy? Do clients need to have requirements in order to work with you? What's the registration process? So do they have to fill out a form or do you just allow everyone to come through as they desire? How are you providing the best customer service? This, again, I want you to do what feels most alive for you. So for example, as a coach, I don't like sales calls. I used to be a door-to-door salesperson. I was very salesy, and I don't like to feel like that in my business now. Of course, we have to sell. So instead, I offer a chat over voice note or texting on Telegram, which is like WhatsApp, to quickly hear what my potential clients' intentions are and really decide if us working together is the best thing for everyone. So you can do it however you want. It could be an email where you talk. It can be texting. I love voice notes, so that's why I did it that way. Do what feels most alive for you. We're breaking the rules. We're not doing this cookie cutter mold where everyone is offering the same type of business model. Marketing strategy. What will be your main social platform? So I say have 2 main platforms. Otherwise, your energy is scattered. This is just at the start. Unless you're able to have a team that's helping you down the road, you can definitely be on every single social media platform if you have someone editing your content, managing your social media, some of your platforms for you. Absolutely. But to start, if it's just you, have one main platform and then secondary. For me, my first one was YouTube, and my community grew very quickly there. And then I really liked Instagram, so that became my second. Then it switched for a while, and now I'm going back because Instagram's not what it used to be. But I am hiring someone to manage my TikTok and my Facebook soon. But we are always evolving and expanding as we go. Will your marketing be organic or paid advertising? For me, up to this point, I have done almost 100% organic advertising, and I have just hit $1 million in sales. Of course, I grew my community by having consistent content, but it is possible, absolutely possible. And it doesn't mean you have to have a following like my size of 100,000 on Instagram. You can have 1,000 followers. Really, it's almost an advantage because you get to pay closer attention to those 1,000 followers, or even 100 if you have. Then you get to pay a lot of attention to them. DM the people who are following you, find out why they're following you, continue to create consistent, valuable content and check in with your community. So if you have a smaller email list, you can be more active and really get to know them, get to know your ideal customer, and then create content around that. If paid advertising, where? So if you're going to be doing advertising, will it be Facebook ads? How will you be paying? Will you be paying influencers? You could sell them your product and have them post about it. How will your marketing strategy continue to expand over time? So I am starting a marketing campaign now for paid advertising for the first time in my career, because I want to expand to women and to people outside of my community. And this feels like the right time for that. So do you plan on hiring help with marketing or doing it on your own? And how will you educate yourself in that? So financial plan. This is me and my gangster shot, and nothing here is 100% accurate. So know that when you're doing your financial planning, it's not 100% accurate. We're predicting and not attaching to outcomes. And we're also, again, stretching ourselves beyond what we might believe is possible for us. So gross income minus expenses equals net income. So the bottom line, when people say bottom line in business, it's the net income. And you want to go over this and make sure that net income is, of course, in the positive, that you're not losing. And if you are losing at the start of your business, what adjustments can you make? And if it's because, for example, I was losing revenue or net income, I was in negative when I was investing a lot into my education. So how am I going to support myself during that time? And of course, I had side hustles to make me more money. So be empowered when it comes to your finances. Know everything coming in and out. If you can't manage $100, you can't manage $100,000. So if you're in my membership program, I have given you access to sacred wealth, and you'll learn how to manage your money more and how to really work around the energetics of money. But there's so many books, podcasts, like get empowered around your finances. Check your bank accounts every single day. And trust me, it's hard. When I almost went bankrupt, that was the last thing I wanted to do, start my day looking at my accounts. But it's empowering just to know what's coming in, what's coming out, when it's coming in and out, what I'm doing with every single dollar, what kind of expenses I'm having. Money is like a relationship. And if you neglect it, then it's not going to want to be in your life. Love your money up, allow it to love you, open to receiving more, and work around your limiting money beliefs. And know the types of business expenses you might have, include operating expenses, payroll, outsourcing, all of these things, put them into consideration. I have an Excel sheet of every single business expense, and every single time that I make a payment of any form, I go onto that Excel sheet. And yes, it does take time. Every payment that comes in my notifications, I quickly go on and add that, and then it adds to the monthly value. And this is very important when in the future you could have a bookkeeper or you could have someone managing your finances. You should also be paying attention to them yourself. So roadmap, create a roadmap with your milestones. So your milestones could be revenue milestones, how much you desire to make monthly or annually. They could be geographical. So maybe you want to hold a retreat overseas. Maybe you want to open a first store and then a second store. For me, I'm planning to have a book tour around America. So that's geographical. And then sales, how many sales do you desire? Your team, your community, how many followers do you want? How big do you want to grow your email list and customers, etc. So here's some examples of milestones. Hit 150,000 subscribers on Instagram by a specific time. Maintain steady $20,000 minimum months of net income. Hire a full-time assistant, hold a retreat in Costa Rica and fill all spots, invest $1,000 a month on Facebook ads. So those are some great examples of milestones. And of course, yours will be unique to you. I just want to share this, that it's great to have milestones in different areas of your business. So finally, journaling, it's 10 years from now. What is your ultimate vision for your business? And our minds, our consciousness does this very interesting thing as when we're writing, at least I know this is true for me, it will start creating little limiting beliefs. Like if I say in 10 years from now, I want to be a billionaire, that mind comes in like, oh no, you can't do that. There's only so many billionaires in the world. You can't have a private island if that's your goal. Like, no, where are you going to find the private island? You have bad credit right now. Like all these little stories will come in, and I want you to push past those stories and dream bigger. Anything can happen in 10 years. Anything. That's a decade from now. If you put in the work, if you believe in yourself, if you don't give up, if you create something you're passionate about, plus that is in demand. I always say passion times demand. There needs to be a problem you're solving. There needs to be a demand for it. And you have to have passion. That passion is going to get you through the inevitable pitfalls, through the inevitable challenges. There's going to be a lot along your entrepreneurial journey. Prepare for them, have the tools to prepare. And I promise you, whatever, if you want to be a millionaire in 10 years, yes, you can. Absolutely. Unless we go into like a World War III, of course, we can't attach too much to outcomes because ultimately we're never in control. But dream big, create a plan around that 10-year plan, that 10-year vision. Once you've created that, dream big. Do not limit yourself when you're dreaming because you create your own limits. And this is something I say all of the time that I want to close this with is there's likely only two things standing in the way of you and your greatest dreams: how you feel about yourself and what you believe to be possible. Anyone who has created incredible lifestyles for themselves, anyone who has what we considered impossible before, had to have believed before that it was possible for themselves, even when others say that it's not possible. I grew up with people telling me that nothing that I dreamed of was possible ever. Not even that I could leave Canada. Now I've been to 67 countries. I had to believe that inside myself and not let their comments and not let their limiting stories affect my life. Anything is possible if you believe it is. I promise you that. Okay, my loves. So I have shared, if you're taking this challenge, what to share in your email to me to win the scholarship for the Baddie Business School. So you have the next day to get that into me, and you can spend more time on everything else when you have time. I would love to know your highest intention and vision. And again, get so excited. I'm excited for you.